Remember to start the recording, switches to the proper screen. And yeah, welcome back, guys. This is, I believe, our 8th session of Adiona. Just have two really quick announcements. Top of the session. First off being, we are still looking for a player to join these guys. So if you are interested, just get in touch via tweet, a message on YouTube, Twitch, whatever's your fancy. Hell, even add me on Discord and we'll chat. Second announcement is as of like 4 hours ago, put up a Patreon because all the cool kids are doing it. And I figure if I can get enough money from Patreon to not have to do certain things normally, I can devote more time to this game and the Arcadia and the Ophion and things like that. Like I say at least to the stream, every time there's a break, I'm never going to charge you for my content. It's purely a tip jar, and I appreciate any and all support that you give me. That said, let's go ahead and get involved with today's session. So today's session is actually going to open up with a personal log from Andromeda. So let me get that note up. All right, so Andromeda's personal log, stardate 58553.6. I am mere hours away from potentially finding a link back to my people. A team from the Adiona, including myself, will be taking the Muuat vessel, the Rama Maven, through the Graviton Catapult. If all goes well, we will arrive within Muuat territory, over 3,000 light years away. For Starfleet and the Muuat, this will be a first contact scenario. For me, it will hopefully provide some answers that I have long since wondered about. And we're going to start the session, kind of similarly to the last one, with a meeting in the conference room. Now, this is both to check who is coming along, any last-minute preparations you guys want to do. But as you can see, the list I currently have is Morgan, Havoc, Andromeda, Inari, Conry, Crawford, and Keru. Does everyone have a character represented here?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is a correct statement.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, in that case, Morgan, if you want to go over any last-minute details, now's the time.
All right, team. Well, as you know, we're going to be probably attempting the most daring first contact mission that Starfleet's ever recorded. So, by all means, if there's something that you feel like we should discuss before we leave, now's the time. Other than that, I want to make sure that provisions are adequately stocked on all ships and to double check any last medical needs that you guys might have. Other than that, I think we're good to go.
Were we able to procure any alien weapons to determine what type of potential threat they could pose to us?
That's a negative, Ghost Rider.
Well, then
Go
ahead.
So what's plan B if everything goes wrong?
if everything goes wrong, my job is to get you all out of there safely. By any means necessary, Commander Morgan?
By any means necessary.
Perfect.
By all means, we need to make an adequate assumption of the situation upon arrival. That's even if we contact them. But considering that they have the ability to manipulate neutronium in the best way possible, I don't necessarily believe that if we had to defend ourselves that we honestly would stand. Our chances are that great. So in that case, survival protocols are necessary. By any means necessary.
Understood.
Commander, will we have time to walk around the ship before we make the actual...
Yes, I have every intention for you to familiarize yourself with all parts of the ship. I want everybody to know everybody else's role.
I'd like you to walk with me as we tour.
That's what you wish, Merrick. Does anybody have any other questions, comments, or concerns?
Just one thing I want to talk to you in private, Commander. Just in case.
Sure. Well, if there's no other business to discuss, You guys all have your assigned duties. Dismissed.
Alright, so everyone but Morgan and Havoc filter on out.
Oh, Crawford would
Just-
stay.
Oh, Crawford's gonna stay. Alrighty.
Just a point that the nurse crew is going to make sure that we have all appropriate PPE should we come across the situation. So she'll be packing a couple cases.
Okay.
I'll follow her just to kind of make sure what we're taking, from a science medical standpoint.
Alright. I think Andromeda and Connor are gonna head over to the Rama Maven a little early. But yeah, you can go ahead and have whatever conversation you were gonna have, Havoc.
I'm gonna look at Morgan and literally state, this probably is gonna become a shit show real quickly. You know that, right?
Planning on it.
So, small question.
Small answer.
That's not.
I'm just trying to lighten the mood.
I begin rubbing my temples in pain. Remember what I talked about with neutronium, with the neutronium star letting them have me, but putting an explosive in one of my arms in order to make sure that they couldn't get any real technology out of me if they decided to try and.
I do indeed recall that daring plan.
Am I authorized to do it again?
No.
I
Thank you,
give
Commander.
him a surprised look.
I'm sorry, Chief Engineer, but that's a stupid plan. If you get hit during the firefight and your arm goes, we're all gone.
The plan is I detach the arm to use it as a distraction. The bomb isn't big enough to kill us, it's just loud enough to distract.
I'm sure the
And
enemies
ruin
will
the tech.
give you. I'm sure the enemies will stop their firefight and let you detach your arm and throw it at them. Hell, they might even let you go up to them and beat one of them with it.
You literally see me detach the arm in less than a second.
Caliban just looks at you and is like, I can throw a grenade just as fast.
But they'll expect that.
And
They won't expect a
Tossing.
random piece of junk on the side of the road to explode.
You may be right. Maybe they might think it's an offering of food. And they can nibble on it.
True. And then they'll die. I don't see a problem with this. Well, I'll lose my arm, but I'm just a
Well-
crazy engineer with detachable arms.
With all due respect, Jay, your proclivity for wanting to detach your limb is something that's best discussed with our doctor. As for me, though, being your commanding officer, I can't authorize you to put improvised explosives on your person in any way, shape, or form, regardless of their embedded, or do you feel like you have the ability to control them?
Fair enough, fair enough. I just don't want to let everyone else know in case they started fearing that randomly I'll explode.
How about you put some
Fear.
weapons inside that arm? Melee weapons. Daggers, blades, something sharp.
I could, but again, that might get, as you said, it'll take a while to get out.
Caliban will just smile like, if we're in a fist fight, I'll make sure to give you enough time.
Fair enough. I could probably put a few screwdrivers that have been improvised into weapons in there. Make it look like normal civilian items, but make it so we can use them later.
By all
Prison
means,
shiv.
I encourage you.
Prison jib!
I encourage you to confer with security to see if there's any other additional improvised weapons that you could either carry with you on your person or make in the field that don't require them to be embedded within your limbs.
Hey, this one has
Switchblade.
compartments.
Could make a switchblade. Those were good. Caliban's just rubbing his beard now.
I swiftly just put the arm back on. You see it twitch as
Nope.
the nerves reconnect.
No explosives.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, fine.
Alright.
First contact mission of peace, man.
First contact mission with a race that is known to use neutronium and is very much willing to use it, and we do not know if they're fully friendly.
I agree. Sounds like a blast, right? Now get settled.
I look at Crawford and said, I do like the way you think, though. Me and you, we're gonna be good friends.
If you keep packing explosives in your arms, we're not going to be friends.
No, but improvised weapons are always fun.
Hmm.
And if that's the case, then I believe that's the end of this discussion. And if
I swiftly just leave.
Yeah. Alright, so mechanically, if you want to hide something in your arm, the quote-unquote default weapons table, you could put a knife, a dagger, or a Type 1 phaser. However, the knife and dagger carry with it an opportunity cost, and since you have no momentum, that would mean you'd have to give me a threat.
I'm just gonna hide my phaser in my arm.
Okay.
They're not gonna know I actually have a phaser on them because it'll just look like a bunch of additional tech in the arm.
Okay. Now, up next, I believe Anari wanted to walk the corridors with Morgan.
Yeah,
Okay.
once we get over there.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get that scene going. Give me a moment to get the proper tokens on there.
Hey, weather.
Rip Mayweather. All right. Let's see. All right. You're gold. Go for it.
Hi, Commander. Thank you for joining.
my pleasure. So
I
what
thought
do
we
you want to
might.
discuss?
I wanted to look around a little bit and see what we can find out about the Muuat, other than what they would have had in their computer core. Just generally see how they live. So, if you follow me, I'd like to visit a few places on the ship. I'm not sure where they are. Perhaps you could show me.
Pretty sure I still remember the general layout of this place since our last away mission. And so
Oh,
I'll go take the lead.
that's great. Let's start with the captain's quarters. Do you know where that would be?
And I'll say, for sake of argument, by now, you all have maps on your tricorders, so it's not that hard to figure out where you are, but if you're really prone to getting lost, it's not that hard to get lost either.
So we eventually make our way to the captain's quarters.
Okay. I don't have a map for it, but
Right. We're just gonna,
Market.
walk in and generally look around and start seeing what we find. Books, whatever.
Okay.
Can you tell us about what we see in the captain's quarters?
I can indeed, and I might be able to enhance it. If you want to roll me, let's see, what would this be for you? Perhaps a insight or reason plus science, and your cultural studies focus will apply. The difficulty here will be a 2.
Would I be able to assist that?
You certainly can. You would also be rolling a reason and science.
That was my intention, have him get
Of
involved
course.
too.
All right, there's one success.
And I'm only rolling what difficulty?
Difficulty 2, but you are only rolling 1 die because you're assisting.
Correct.
Hey, look at that. You guys get a momentum. All right, so to kind of paint the scene, would it be fair for me to say that you guys know what a pod hotel looks like?
Japanese pod hotel.
Yeah. So the room itself is very small. There is a pod-like opening that leads to I guess you would call it an area to lay down on. Not necessarily a bed. There's definitely no padding or anything. But it is a flat surface, approximately it's about 7 to 8 feet in length. About half as much wide. And there is probably all of a terminal screen opposite this pod-like feature, as well as a what would you call it, I suppose? Not a full window to the outside, but basically a porthole which is showing a Class M environment out of it. So kind of If any of you have read Harry Potter, that one thing that Ron Weasley's dad has in his office, kind of that picture over the beach, kind of the same thing here.
So it's actually like a photograph in a way.
Sort of, but it's moving.
Well, look at it. It's an M class. Interesting world, vegetation, things like that. Pictures of family.
No pictures of family. I would say what you're basically seeing through this porthole is a large forest, perhaps a tundra forest.
Okay. And I'll kind of go over to the bed, sit down, and say, very practical. They seem to be living much like our Klingon friends, but very Spartan on personal effects, other than, I point at the moving picture. Any books or such, or log type
Not
material?
that you're seeing or able to find.
Clothing locker?
No clothing walker, but thank you for reminding me. You do find what appears to be a somewhat used set of metal, which I think you would be able to reason is basically a spare set of armor for the captain.
Seems they're very much the warrior type, Commander. Do you have a first name, Commander?
Before I answer that, I actually have a GM question.
Sure.
So, is that piece of metal is it actually form fitted, has armor, or is it more so like as a sheet? I cannot talk to that. Has this metal been morphed yet, or is it
Yes.
just like okay?
It definitely looks like it was fitted for the individual.
All right, that was just a curious question. In regards to Anari, though, my parents gave the name of Lucas.
You mind if I call you Lucas as we walk around? It's a bit easier.
I don't mind. We're not on mission yet, so by all means.
Anything else, GM, that stands?
Not in this room.
Okay. I'd like to make our way to the crew quarters.
Okay. So you're going to find
a crew quarter or dormitory. That would tell us a lot.
Okay. Well, it's pretty easy to find. You basically find a much larger pod hotel type deal. This time you see that there are basically bunk bed pods, so they're stacked too high, and each, I guess you would call it barrack, holds about 10 or so of these pods.
Do they seem to have like weapons lockers and things right here?
They do not. In fact, you're again not seeing anything that would indicate personal effects or places one would put such things.
Very peculiar, Lucas. It's almost like they don't really have a individuality.
I suppose it'll probably be, if they do, it would definitely not be in the same way that organic life forms do, since they are silicon based.
Yeah, very true. Other than really trying to sneak around or focus, we're looking for the obvious. I'd like to go to, I would call it, if we can find something entertainment related or training related, those kind of places.
For sake of argument, I'm going to say that you're not able to find such a thing. If anything, the more rooms you inspect and the more rooms you come across, the more you come to realize that this ship was pretty much built for a singular purpose. It was meant to basically serve as a lifeboat or a carrier type vessel, and not much else. It definitely does not seem to have any of the entertainment facilities. Like, you're not finding what could be a large open space other than cargo holds. You're not finding, obviously, a holodeck, or at least not any holodeck that you would be able to tell.
Yeah, as you explained to us when we were here before, it's very functional and accessible. There's no frills, basically.
Correct.
Is there a med bay?
There is what you have guessed is a med bay. By that I mean it seems to have an abnormal amount of screens above flat surfaces, and you think, obviously because that's the way Starfleet does their sick bays, that this might be the same thing.
Would I call the technology in the med bay brutal or sophisticated or,
I would say you would need to roll me a insight and medicine for that. Difficulty 2. Also, yes, Captain, I did get your whispers, so you're fine.
do I have a focus?
Do you have any medical training whatsoever?
Anthropology. Okay.
It's a stretch, but I'll let it happen.
And Morgan can roll too, I guess. Assisting.
Of course, sure.
Yep, so insight medicine from Morgan as well. You got the 2 you need, but let's see if Morgan gets you some momentum. By the way, who is tracking momentum for us this time?
Yeah, I can keep it up. What we got?
Well, you've got 1 at the moment. Yep, just the 1. Okay. So I would say that this is somewhere between Klingon level medicine and early TOS medicine.
Okay, that's a good description.
One's good, and the other one is, oh god, you're gonna use that on me.
They use instrumentation or...
Oh yeah, I mean, you find what would be the Muuat equivalent of scalpels and a hypospray. Well, it's more like a needle than a hypospray, but you get the idea.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know.
So
this is a very sophisticated ship. I'll describe this to Commander Morgan. So, this is very interesting. The medical technology is very basic. Quite a bit behind ours, but perhaps above the Klingons. But this, from my basic understanding of the workings of the ship, the engineering is astounding. I guess quite a disparity there.
Morgan kind of just looks at you, and he nods.
You're in sickbay?
He can't keep up with at least the technicalities of this, because his mind is focused elsewhere.
And yes, they are in sickbay, Crawford.
I guess just for a split second, Crawford shows up with like 2 big crates of medical supplies, and he just drops it.
Okay.
Looks at you two, and then walks out.
Well, at this point, I'm happy to tour the ship as much as what I think I'm going to glean off of it, unless there's something that you think I would find extraordinary in my walking through the ship, Game Master.
I'm
not too interested in like engineering.
Right.
Havoc's he's been through that with a fine-tooth comb.
Yeah, I would say from an anthropological standpoint and a cultural studies standpoint, there's not a whole lot of data here. You're kind of going in blind.
Actually, it seems like there's a lot of absence of what I would call culture.
In my view, this is a ship that's meant to be experimental. They probably didn't want to lose anything too detailed just because it takes time. It's not necessary.
So I just explained that to you, Commander Morgan. This is a very interesting culture because it seems to lack the advance or refinery of individuality. It's, unlike anything I would think of Federation. They're going to be a very cold species, I would imagine, to deal with in first contact.
So in terms of species that lack individuality, or at least lack large amounts of it, sans the Borg, which alpha or beta quadrant species would you find the most correlation with?
So far, I would say the Klingons with a mix of Tholian. Perhaps Breen, but I'm not overly familiar with the Breen. But they don't seem to be a collective. I don't see that evidence.
In that case, then, if we were to make first contact, it would probably be to at least a singular ideal.
Yeah, they definitely have a hierarchy. The captain having his own quarters and a small personal effect.
Minutes later, Caliban comes back with another crate.
Hope you're not dropping off. Why we need 2 boxes worth of hyperspace, Caliban? What do you do?
Food.
Oh,
Supplies.
okay, good. That's fine.
This is the second thickest room in the ship. We can hold up here if we had a radiation leak.
Is there apple pie in there?
Fuck if I know. Bloody apple pie. Karun,
So
you lazy git.
So we can wrap this up.
Yeah, I gotcha. All right. Well, in one way or another, unless anyone has any scenes they'd like to interject.
Just got
Caliban.
that note I wrote to you for what I put in the cases and where they were located.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Just Caliban poking around, pulling stuff in, smoking a cigar.
Okay. So, I'm going to move us onto this map, and I meant to have this when you first came aboard, but this is basically what the bridge looks like. You have the captain's chair that is front and center, and it is... I'll move Morgan's token for a moment so you can see. It does not have any readouts on it. It is very much just a chair with a place to put your feet up, and you don't see him yet. He's not there. Good thing the stream didn't see it, but you didn't see that either. Pay no attention to the man behind the screen. Where was I? So yes, the captain's chair seems to be in the front. In front of him, where the token was that I got rid of, there is a view screen. Directly behind the captain's chair is a science station, or what you have determined fares for one. There is another sort of auxiliary station that seems to be just general. And then in the very back of the bridge, where Havoc and Crawford's tokens are, those appear to be ops and security and engineering. As far as where your positions are at the moment, you can feel free to move around. But this is where I pretty much envisioned where everyone would find their home best. But Andromeda is going to be off to the side here, off side of the view screen for the time being.
Caliban's console has a bunch of sticky notes all over it. Yeah, that symbol means this. Alright, this one. This vents all the Atmo. Let's make sure that is covered.
Guess Kira's still trying to figure out what buttons do what on the console.
I'm going to look out the window.
Okay.
I want to see the jump.
All right. So yeah, you actually have a very nice view of the exterior. The bridge is different from Federation standards in that the bridge is quite literally the front of the ship, at least for the Ralma Maven. And yeah, for the moment, you're just seeing a normal star field with the big old Graviton Catapult ahead of you.
Well, go ahead.
Chief Havoc. If this doesn't work and we hit something, we gotta see him get crushed first before we all get crushed, right? He's pointing to Commander Morgan.
Uh-oh, did we lose Havoc?
Oh.
Oh,
Someone
my
turn her
mic
on
is
and off
lighting
again.
up.
My mic and my sound died for like 12 seconds.
Nice. You're back now, though.
Yes, I'm guessing we're on to the jump point.
Mm-hmm.
So as Mario would say, let's go.
All right.
Caliban feels ignored.
No,
Morgan just looks at him, smiles, shrugs.
and Connery will speak up and says, "Well, sir, I'm ready to report that the Graviton Catapult is quite ready for our use."
You look like my great grandpa.
I'm not sure whether to take that as a compliment.
Well, I appreciate the update, Conrad. Thank you. Please stand by.
Ready when you are, Commander Morgan.
So I suppose at this point, Morgan would actually just twirl around in the chair for a little bit. Because not only is he not actually sitting in the captain's chair on the Adiona, but he's sitting in the captain's chair on a completely alien vessel, doing something incredibly risky. And honestly, he's not really that scared. But he does have like that sly smile that he's trying to hide from the rest of the crew. And afterward, while he's trying to calm himself to make sure that he doesn't lead them completely astray. Who's at helm right now, at the moment?
That would actually be Ensign Keru.
Oh, I'm the helmsman. Oh, interesting.
Fun times. Well, Ensign Keru, it's time for us to depart. Hard to port, starboard thrusters at 1/4.
Starboard thrusters at 1/4 ice.
All right.
What you want me to do? You want me to make a maneuvering roll for this, or?
You know what? You guys could use some momentum, so sure. Just roll me a control con. And
Never caught one.
the ship is gonna assist you with let's do engines con. And difficulty is a 0, so just don't roll a complication.
Slam into the catapult.
Alright, easy.
She
Ease
has
off those
no-
thrusters then.
She has no focus.
GM, I would like to give.
Nice. Nice. Someone roll for the ship. It could be important.
I'll roll for the ship.
Did I disengage the space brake?
Engine con.
Engines calm for the Rama Maven, yes.
The ship always has a focus.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so you can literally just spend the 2 momentum you just got to get rid of that complication if
Yeah,
you
let's
want.
do that.
Jim, I'm also going to give you some threat.
Alright, what am I getting threat for?
Caliban has a Type 3 phaser rifle with him.
Oh, I think that's what, 2 threat?
Escalation 2? Yeah.
Okay, noted. Alright, so narratively what happens, Kero, you plug in the commands, and as the ship begins to lurch to starboard, you realize you have a momentary moment of dyslexia. You quickly correct yourself, and no one else is the wiser. Connery probably notices, but he's not saying anything. To anyone
Wisely.
Yeah.
I'll move my way over to her, and I've flown shuttles probably a little bit more to her, so I'll kind of whisper, "I'll help you out a little."
You'll see her do the Obama not bad, like oops.
Crawford has a con of 3. So,
No,
Mine's a 2.
I very deliberately put someone who is not skilled at con on con because I thought it would be funny. But the good news is that you approach the catapult. You are not going to ram into it. And is there anything any of you would like to say before the catapult engages?
Ensign Carroll will speak up and remind everybody. I have the PPE just in case we have an exposure situation next to my station here. Hopefully everybody remembers how to don this stuff. It's not that often we actually need exposures.
All right. Anyone else?
I think Morgan's made enough speeches.
battling down the hatches, closing all the doors, sealing up any rooms, and making sure that we have a proper seal across the ship.
All right. Yeah, sure enough. Green across the board.
Ship's good to go, Captain.
The the ship may get a last minute comm from the Adiona, just a last minute check before they actually decide to go underway.
All right. So, assuming you answer that hail, Morgan, are we accepting that hail?
Maybe he got disconnected.
Yeah, I'm thinking he might have got disconnected.
No, Morgan's back.
Oh,
And
well,
yes,
sorry.
we are accepting that hell.
Okay, in that case, yes, you do see Captain Williams appear on the view screen.
Well, howdy there, Captain.
Hey there, Captain. Is there anything else you need before you go underway?
Love and understanding.
Apple
I'm
pie.
fresh out of those.
Apple pie.
Or
Apple
an apple.
pie.
I suppose some people want some of that apple pie.
I'll see if we can tweak the replicators to get something a little special for it.
Please do. Silicon-based life forms, remember.
Yeah, well, we'll give them to you on the other side, so make sure you make your ship get over there, otherwise you don't get any.
Roger that, Captain.
All right, Adiona out. Best of luck to you.
All right. So we're going to handle this in a slightly unorthodox fashion. I would like to make this a dual extended task. And by that I mean the Maven crew and the Adiona crew are going to be doing the same roles. So if you have your supporting character for the Maven, you're also going to want to pull up your main sheet for this one. Or if you're playing Havoc or Morgan, you're going to want to pull up a supporting character. That said, let's break this down. So actually going through the catapult is a difficulty 2 base difficulty. It is a control or daring plus con. And the magnitude is a 2 as well. And the work track is only an 8. So let's do the Maven first. So is Karu going to continue her duties at helm, or is she going to yield to someone else?
Well, my daring is 1 point higher, so I don't mind making the roll, but I am
it's more
playing
interesting if you do.
Yeah, but keep in mind, I am no longer playing the captain on this ship. I am the least ranking officer on this one, so feel free to step in and pull rank should you feel so inclined.
By all means,
I wa-
watch this happen.
I just look back at Kara, and does she have a terrified look on her face?
Wait,
I don't know if I can do this.
Well, probably not, considering she's a joined trill, so...
Okay, so she's got a pretty decent confidence going. I'm
More that she's experienced so many things, it's not that big of a deal to try something new. Granted, she's never done this before, but she's done a lot of stuff for the first.
You got this, girl.
Hey, no winks.
All right, well, either daring or control plus con. And
right.
I'll be nice and I'll say the ship is going to assist you with, let's make this a slightly unorthodox. I used that word twice. I know my vocabulary. Let's do engines and command for this one.
I'm buying a die with a point of threat.
Okay. All right, well, 2 successes is all you need to roll challenge die. Let's see if the ship gets you anything.
I suppose I'll roll for the ship then.
All right, yeah, engines command if you could. All right, you guys get a momentum. So, at this point, you bring the Maven right up to where the aperture would begin to form on a normal catapult. And on cue, Conry begins sending a signal to the gate. And sort of the same way we saw in Voyager, one after another, these beams of energy begin to feed onto the hull of the Maven. And it's causing this sort of high-pitched whine that's building and building and building. And I'd like you to now roll me all of 3 challenge die. Okay. I will say that if you want, you can either spend the 2 momentum you have to get a breakthrough, or you can spend 1 to reroll that 0. I would advise one or the other, but hey, you do you.
Let me get the breakthrough. I'll burn.
Okay. Well, that's a very good thing, because when you when the high pitched whine reaches a crescendo, the Rommel Maven rockets forward enough that the inertial dampeners aren't 100% able to keep up, and you are flung into null space. And we're now going to do the same thing with the Adiona. So, since Mayweather is here, or is still your helmsman, I'll do the rolling for him, unless anyone else would care to do the rolling.
I'll do the assist for the ship.
Okay, yep. Engines command for the ship. I believe that is, yes, that is 2 successes for him. All right, well, let's roll his challenge die, see how much work he gets done here. All right. I'm going to say, because he has a certain talent, that effect is going to help. And yeah, the Adiona, similar fashion. As soon as the Rommel Maven jumps to null space, Mayweather brings in the Adiona, beams connect to the hull, and then, boom, like a slingshot. So the transition through null space is actually fairly smooth. You might have expected it to be a little bit more bumpy or a little bit more, I guess the word would be tumultuous, but it's almost like you're at normal warp. The view screen is showing sort of a black and white swirling miasma that would normally represent null space, because we never really see the inside of it, so I'm making something up. But you are probably going at so many multiples of C that it's insane. So at this point, we're going to do the next extended task. The next part of the extended task. I need, at this point, Karu, I need you to roll me either, again, a control or a daring plus con. And this time, the ship is rolling a engines plus con.
Let me get my Adiona stuff out of here. Was it Daring Con, you said?
Daring con, yeah.
I'll roll for the ship again, unless somebody else wants to.
Go for it.
And point of threat.
Okay. All right, 2 you need. Hey, you get a momentum. All right, go ahead and roll me 3 challenge die again, and let's see how you do. Actually, no, sorry, that's 2 momentum, because the difficulty is only a 1. All right. I believe if you spend... No, you complete the work track, because it was only 8. So yes, at this point, I need, Karu, I need you to roll me a 1d1000, please. And while you do that, I'll roll for Mayweather. Okay. And someone grab engines and con for the Adiona, please.
Somebody on it already? If not, I got it.
Go for it.
Engines Con.
Yep. Basically, I'm trying to get you guys a nice, healthy pool of momentum.
Yay.
All right, so another 2 momentum for you guys. And yeah, I'm not even going to roll for him. He'll make it, I'm pretty sure. Unless you roll straight zeros. You know what, I'll roll it anyway. Let's see what happens. He's got enough. He's fine. Alright, so at this point, I would like someone besides myself or the captain to roll me another 1d1000.
I'll do that.
Okay.
1d1000.
Yep, the command is exactly what you think it is.
Oh, okay, very nice. So, the Rommel Maven is going to suddenly decelerate, and as You leave null space, and the stars begin to wink back into existence. And sensors begin feeding back data to everyone on the bridge, so everyone is seeing this data coming in. What you are able to discern is that you have indeed traveled an extreme amount of distance in a matter of minutes. And it also confirms that you are within the area of space, what is referred to in the Muuat logs as the veil, or behind the veil. And you also are able to determine that this area of space is in no way, shape, or form conductive to a stable warp bubble. And the reason for that is because there is a metric fuckton, not an imperial fuckton, a metric fuckton, of neutron stars and other subspace eddies that are just warping subspace so powerfully that you just can't make a bubble.
So,
Establishing station keeping, Captain.
No hostiles on sensor. My job is done.
All right, well.
well,
Oh, go ahead.
at this point, if there's nothing necessarily on sensors,
Well, someone needs to roll sensors, and, I can tell you what you're seeing.
That would be
Hint, hint.
Connery.
All right, so if someone would care to roll for Connery, this is going to be a reason science for Connery, and the Rama Maven is going to assist with sensor science. It's only a difficulty 1.
I'll roll for Connery.
All right,
I'll take the ship.
okay. Wow, nice. So that's another 2 momentum. I believe you're capped. Very good. Connery reports. Well, sirs, I'm seeing that we're in a system with 2 Class Y demon planets and a red giant star. Both the Class Ys are volcanic in nature. Atmospheric's caustic, though I'm sure this vessel could withstand it no problem. I'm also detecting 2 vessels in orbit among the farthest planet, and a smaller version of the catapult we just came from.
Can you determine the design of those other 2 vessels? Do they match this one?
It is similar to ours, yes.
Can you get me an analysis on that red star?
Certainly. What would you want to know about it? Because Connery is your CSO on this mission, so he gets a free question.
Okay. I wanted to know, in any case, does the red star and the other types of subspace eddies that are manipulating the veil have any other effects on the demon class planet?
Oh, I think I see where you're going with this. No, it does not appear that the instabilities of the area are affecting quote-unquote normal gravity, normal stellar stellar phenomena. So the red giant star is what you'd expect it to be. The Class Y demon planets seem to just have been volcanic in nature. They don't appear to have been made that way, if that makes any sense.
Okay. But yeah, that was basically my question.
Okay. Well, Connery tells you all of that.
Well, very good, Connery. In any case, I'm going to make sure that everybody else made it through okay. So, how's the rest of the bridge? You guys okay back there? You all in one piece?
Helm is fine, sir.
I'm still alive.
Great.
How about Andromeda? Since she's been pretty quiet.
She actually has been very quiet, and she simply reports, I am fine, thank you for asking.
GM, I'm going to run a quick medical check on everybody since the inertial dampeners weren't exactly the same as they were, just to make sure there's nothing that we need to monitor.
Sure. Go ahead and roll me a Reason Medicine, difficulty 1.
Use my focus in physiotherapy.
Sure. All right, so you have momentum. You can spend it on a question. What you're detecting is everyone on the bridge seems fine. You're not seeing any radiation spikes. You are detecting that the coating of nanites that you applied to the hull seems to have done a wonder. And I would also say that I can't say that without a question. All right, so that's how much you get with the roll itself.
Okay. Let's see here. Yeah, she doesn't have any talents or anything, so I guess for that extra momentum, that generated 1 momentum, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I'll use that for basically nothing that we would have to monitor over time. As like something degrading as we use the ship.
Okay. Let me think.
Like the layer is slowly wearing down and we have to rejuvenate it. That kind of thing.
Right. I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase this. You don't necessarily detect a degradation of your protective coating, but in the process of scanning the hull, you also realize that several systems are glitched out. And by that I mean your console, at least yours for the moment, is very, shall we say, finicky. You sort of have to tap the button as it illuminates or tap it a little harder than usual. So I guess a good term would be the ship now has gremlins.
Yeah, so I would speak up to Havoc and go, Lieutenant Commander, you may want to run a level 1 check on our stuff. This console is a bit finicky all of a sudden.
Did you slap it, or at least hit it on the side?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, shit, I guess there is a problem. I immediately start doing diagnostics.
Okay. I'm going to give this to you free since you're capped on momentum. You are, in fact, able to determine that the sort of lower level systems, perhaps the ones that weren't as shielded from the sort of jump to null space. So, for example, the view screen does not work at the moment, and the life support on deck 12 is also out. But deck 12 doesn't really hold anything, so you're probably okay.
In any other case, I'd like to try to see if we can determine the position of the Adiona.
So, as much as you try to scan around, you're not detecting the Adiona anywhere nearby.
Well, I suppose at this point we're on our own.
Can I swing? Do we have external cameras on the ship that we have access to?
It's Star Trek. Somehow the cameras give you an external view.
No, what I wanted to do is pick up visual scanning, since subspace sensors are probably not going to work in this environment.
Okay, yeah, sure. I'm assuming you're looking specifically for the Adiona.
Correct. I'm using the old telescope through the Mark 1 eyeball kind of thing to see if we can see.
Okay.
Using the ship, of course, to make out the shape or whatever.
Yeah, I would say same result. I mean, even giving it a thorough inspection of the immediate area, the Adiona is nowhere to be found.
Commander Morgan, I can't confirm the Adiona's location. Sensors probably aren't going to help us, but even visually, we can't.
Very well then. Well, at the same time, I kind of want to wait a little while before I contact those nearby ships or remove anything down. So even though we have external sensors running, I'd like to make a general level 1 check on the rest of the ship system, not necessarily just Karu's console. to confirm that at least the ship's still in one place and we have the ability to move it.
Okay.
I'll initiate the bid test now, sir.
And again, you're capped on momentum, so I'm going to give it to you free. Engines are fine. Again, you can only go up to impulse speeds. Life support, except for Deck 12, working fine. What else is important? Sensors are supposedly working. Communications array seems to be functional, minus the view screen. And am I missing any major system? I don't think I am.
Tactical?
I would say that, everything seems to be mostly in order except for the few gremlins you got.
Weapons, shields?
Weapons.
Oh, right. So remember, this does not have shields. It does damage a little bit differently, but we'll handle that when it happens. As for weapons, you are reading that the turrets on the exterior are active. Well, active meaning that they are ready to be controlled. They're not, actively pointing at anything.
Gonna play around with the profile settings. See if I can program friend or foe distinguishing subroutines into it.
I would figure that's fairly trivial for you to do.
Well, in any other case, now that we are beyond the veil and the ship seems to be in one piece, I suppose it's time for us to start carrying out our mission. Let's go seek out new life. Seek out new life. Oh, am I acting up again?
No, you're
Okay,
just
no, we're
quiet.
not. We're good. But yeah, by all means. Ensign Caru, take us closer to that, to one of the two of those demon-class planets. And question, how far away were the other two vessels in this? Was it two or one vessels that was in this?
So quick diagram in MS Paint. So, dude over here. So that's the sun. That's planet number 1. That's planet number 2. And both the catapult, the mini catapult, and the 2 Muuat ships around that one there. And I would say you are about 2 AU away.
Yeah, I'm making the roll now.
Actually, yeah, no. First things first, we should probably go check on the catapult.
All right. So, if I understand you correctly, we're moving the Ralma Maven towards the catapult where the Muuat ships are.
That's correct.
Okay. So, as you approach, I guess, Crawford, you're kind of at ops. You would see that there is an incoming communication.
Can I pinpoint where?
It's coming from one of the Muuat ships.
Captain? One of them squawking at us.
Well, we came all this way. It's time for us to squawk back. But before you open the channel, let's make sure we send out a general friendly greeting. We'll probably catch them off guard, but we at least want them to know that we mean them no harm, and we're probably not who they're expecting.
Have we found a greeting in their database?
Hopefully it
Do we
doesn't
know
say
what a
Bowie
friendly- what-
Brana Weep Ninny Bong or anything.
Do we know what might be a friendly greeting in their language?
You would know one. Is something along the lines of, "May the veil be forever in your heart."
So, Captain, you might want to use one of their greetings if you want to alleviate any tension.
Most definitely.
Connery speaks up and says, "Sure, should we try to get the view screen back up and working first?"
When do you intend to reveal who we are?
To be quite honest, I was planning to do so immediately. it won't take if it won't take these silicon life form based. It won't take them very long to discover that we're not necessarily who they expect, and so I find it might as well be for the best that we come clean to tell them exactly what happened.
Yeah, come forward first thing.
Exactly.
That's
Whether or not that these people or these specific vessels are allies to or enemy to the people that previously inhabited this vessel is not necessarily something that we could determine at this point.
Is there a secondary screen that you could use to protect your?
There is not, but if Havoc literally runs up and does her magic, she could probably get it working pretty quickly. But she's AFK. Rip. I'll say that if you want Havoc to run up and beat it with a hammer, she can do it.
Actually, I think it might be. I want to ease into this, so what we could try audio only.
All right. Well, Crawford, it's up to you whether you want to open a full channel or if you want to just send the greeting and see what you get back.
Actually, unless I'm gonna go turn to Inari, do you believe that they're more visually based species? Do you feel like that would be of assistance?
That was the only thing that we found so far in the captain's quarters was a visual reminder of his homework. But I would recommend presenting yourself as, in full vision.
Considering that they did have that kind of porthole thing in the captain's quarters, I do change my mind, and I do tend to agree.
If we have trouble with our own viewing screen, perhaps you can still project your image to theirs.
Potentially.
We know what they look like.
Well, let's go give them an image of myself, but let's still continue to keep it audio and then open a channel.
All right.
So, what am I sending?
I think you're just opening a channel.
You're just opening a channel
The idea
with
was
a static picture.
Yeah, you want to. We can't see them, but there's no
Right.
reason why we can't send a vision, our image to them, right?
There's nothing really. Yeah, it's kind of like you don't have a camera, but they don't have a camera. You know what I mean? They can see you, you can't see them.
Right.
Sure, I'll turn on the view screen and lock it into a picture mode.
Well, when you activate the view screen, it's just very staticky, like you're watching an old VHS on really old tape, an old VHS, and it's just whiny, liney, wavy, off color. But you do vaguely see the token I hit earlier. You do vaguely see a Muuat, or at least a being seemingly made of inner light being contained within a set of armor.
I'm going to move over next to Andromeda and watch her react.
Okay.
What vessel are you receiving?
There is a good minute of silence before the individual replies very clearly. You can hear him just fine, even if the image is crap. He says, or at least it sounds masculine. It's hard to tell. I'm trying to go for a gravelly type voice, but my throat is not cooperating. So kind of imagine a mountain talking to you. And the individual says, are you... You can't be.
Unfortunately, I don't necessarily think I am who you believe I'm to be. My name is Captain Lucas Morgan of the Federation Starship Adiona. We actually found this vessel. Well, it's a long story, but we found this vessel probably not where you expected it to be. Or at least it didn't necessarily get to its entire destination. So, we decided to come here and just tell you that yourself. Unfortunately, the crew on board this vessel perished before we found it. Do you know anything about this?
Again, there's a very noticeable pause. And very reverently, the individual replies, "So it's true. The Maven's crew did make it beyond the veil. But they were punished for their hubris. After all, you returning it to us is a sign that our gods have returned."
You hear in the back, "Ah, shite."
Yeah. And Morgan said, no deities, please. Worst first contact scenario possible. But in any case, he'll turn back to the view screen and just say, "Oh, I'm not necessarily sure about any of that. But in the same case, I could assure you that myself and the crew aboard this current vessel are no deities. I'd like to discuss this matter with you further, if possible."
Well, if it is the word of a god, I cannot resist your call.
No.
I look to Havoc and just give her like the thumbs up, and like this is like this is going swell in the most sarcastic way I can imagine.
I give him the look of, this is not going well. This is going horribly, considering Morgan's reaction.
He's going sarcastic with it. He's like, "Oh, we're fucked."
All honesty, if they start calling me the machine god, I will lose my shit.
Well, prep
I'd
your
like to-
shit. You're going to lose it.
I'd like to move over next to Captain Morgan and
Okay.
look at the screen or in that direction so they can see me. Do you have a name, Captain?
I do, oh great one. I am the humble commander Tarud.
Well, Tarud, we are no different than yourself, perhaps, in the sense that we are just beings that live in the universe.
But as you have shown, you possess the ability to come and go from the garden.
If your crew that was on board this vessel, if circumstances were better, they would have done the same.
There is no reply. If anything, it's almost an awe-struck silence. If I had to qualify it.
Well, in any case, I suppose Morgan will just break this silence.
Is there an obvious difference, GM, between the vision that we're seeing and the one that the doctor had manufactured in the hologram?
Not tremendously so. I mean, it's hard to find images that match with Ultron. But I thought I got pretty close with what I found.
Same species, though.
Yeah. Same bipedal, sort of fire contained within armor type looking scenario. Basically a what's the descriptor I'm looking for here? Everything you were expecting from the image you saw previously.
Captain Morgan, the sooner I kind of whisper this, Captain Morgan, the sooner we meet them person to person and have a more physical contact, the better.
I agree. So I'll turn back to Captain Tarud and just say, since we're not necessarily completely familiar with your vessel, would you like to initiate docking procedure, or do you guys have the ability of matter transport?
Matter transport. This must be a technology of the gods. No, Great One. We are stuck with simple docking procedures.
Shuttle bay.
Are you sure that we are allowed to step forth on your vessel?
This was your vessel long before it was ours.
Use the shuttle bay.
Well, I mean, that is a good point. Do you want to shuttle them over, or do you literally just want to dock the ships?
I think it's best to shuttle them over, one by one. Take this slowly.
Okay.
Well, not literally one by one, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you meant. Well, give the order and let's make it happen.
Well, we'll meet you in the shuttle bay. Morgan out.
All right. And channel cuts.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Who's driving, sir?
I just look at you, Quayle. Well, you obviously have the experience. You brought us through. The slingshot.
Andromeda, any thoughts? You've been kind of quiet.
Mostly that I'm feeling what I believe is called deja vu, but I can't really say why. I do know them, but I don't know how they relate to me.
In any case, you have some sort of familiar feeling, so that's more than enough for you to be here in the shuttle bay when we see them. So, Andromeda, Anari, you're with me.
Okay.
The rest of you, I suppose you look as gallantly as possible. And let's go meet our. I don't know what to call them because they're not friends. I was going to say our new friends, but I guess we're. I'm not even going to think about it. I just walk off the bridge. We're just going to the shuttle bay.
All right, so just
Followers.
so I've got everyone grouped together, it's Morgan, Andromeda, and Anari.
Yep, unless anybody else wants to tag on.
Crawford's coming.
Crawford's coming.
Yeah, just in case.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Well, I don't really have a shuttle bay ready, but we'll use theater of the mind. That's what this damn map's for.
Yeah,
GM,
I guess me and Connery will try to do additional maintenance to make sure this panel is a little bit more reliable.
All right. Well, let me.
GM, I wanted to grab the picture out of the captain's quarters. Is it something that can be easily carried?
No. Maybe I described it not properly. It is quite literally a porthole. It is not like a hanging picture.
It wasn't a porthole into another room.
No. It basically is what are they called?
It's like the TV in the wall.
Yeah, it's like a TV in a wall, but there's depth to it. So almost like you're wearing 3D glasses type thing.
Ah, okay. Cool.
All right, who am I missing?
3DS of the Muuat.
All right, so Crawford, Anari, Andromeda.
I'll be in the shadows just like that picture.
All right, so those of you head down to the shuttle bay, and a smaller, I would say, Type 9 sized craft departs from the opposite Muuat vessel, and you're pretty damn close. I mean, you could probably fire a grappler cable and connect the two ships, but that said, the transition of this craft over to your shuttle bay is very, shall we say, rapid. And they come in, they land next to your Type 9 shuttle and your Valkyrie craft that you brought along with you. And the back opens, revealing the two individuals that I'm about to reveal. Revealing those two individuals, one you kind of can tell is the commander you were talking to. At least he seems to have the same armored features. And then there is another individual that is slightly more spiky and has more prominent eyes. More of a, I guess, a facial expression in general than the commander does. And the moment they step off the deck, or step onto the deck, they take a look around, they see you, then they see Andromeda, and immediately, like instantaneously upon seeing Andromeda, they drop to their knees, prostrate themselves before her, and say, "You've returned. The Dorhini have returned." And that's where we're going to take our break. So, if you guys could be back about 10 minutes from now, that would be awesome.
Roger.
All right, BRB. muting myself for the stream. So again, thank you all for watching and tuning in. I appreciate it. Whether you're doing it now live on Twitch or if you're doing it later on YouTube. Again, a reminder, we are still looking to fill another player slot, so if you have the night open on Tuesdays and you're interested in joining us, please drop me a line and we'll talk about getting you into the game. Other thing I have to mention is that if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free Twitch Prime subscription. You have to auto-renew it every single month. I know it's dumb, but at least it lets you move it around if you so wish. And of course, you don't have to spend that free sub on me, but hey, if you do, I'd appreciate it. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, so I'm just going to mute myself for everybody else. And I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Sounds like the air base you're next to is giving you a break.
Well, I have a feeling it's because we've had heavy rains pretty much all of today, so thankfully there not have been as much night ops as there usually is. Well, let me ask this, is anyone not here?
Check, check.
Yep, you're here.
Hello.
Morgan's here.
Hello, hello.
Galen's here. Havoc's typing, so I know they're here.
I just realized my mic was off this entire bloody.
Nice.
Defiantly, God. I like it.
Look, I am slightly dyslexic, and I rely on autocorrect a lot.
I'm just joking, considering that we're talking about deities and defiance.
Mm.
That's all.
All honesty, if they do actually come in and call the machine god the Omnisire or something like that, I will have a good 10-minute rant.
Well, I guess we'll find out one way or the other. Just need to hear from the captain and we'll get started again.
I'm back, just checking the election results.
Cool. Alright, let's kill the music, get everything going again, and get this show on the road. Alright, so as we tuned in, oh, by the way, lose 1 momentum for scene change. I gotta keep reminding myself to do that. But as I previously described, the Muuat had come over in a shuttlecraft. They came outside, looked around, they saw Andromeda, and immediately began bowing and singing praises of her, calling her a Dorni. And the name Dorni, I'm probably saying it completely wrong because I actually stole this from nature, but the name Dorni strikes Andromeda very oddly. She says, I know that name. That's the name of my people. And to the Muuat's credit, they say, yes, you have returned to us, and you have brought your servants. And Andromeda just looks to Morgan at this point, not really sure how she should go about this.
It's a good thing that Morgan hates being called a god, but now he feels a little bit, a little bit sad, honestly. He thought he would make a pretty good god, but that's not Starfleet. But in any case, he's actually just going to go turn to the Muuat and just say, we have a lot to discuss, and there are many things that aren't exactly what you think they are.
Please stand.
The commander starts to, and his fellow notices and says, "No, you fool! Stay down!"
Well, no, please stand. We're not. The first thing that we need to get out of the way right now is that none of us have any supernatural powers whatsoever. Please get up. When you're talking to us, we're all equals.
It's hard to tell facial expressions on a armored helmet. But when the commander rises or attempts to again, the acolyte does not stop him. The acolyte remains still reverently bowing. But the commander at least gets to one knee and says, "Very well, emissary."
Just Lucas Morgan would do.
Emissary
And
Morgan.
at this point, I don't necessarily see the harm in trying to extend my arms to try to make him stand upright on a full 2 feet instead of one knee. So I'm going to attempt to reach out to do that.
I'm going to say if you want to try doing that, that's going to be a presence command. And given the circumstances, I think a difficulty 4 is more than fair.
I completely do think that's fair.
So you do have 5 momentum.
I do have 5 momentum. I also have a bunch of diplomatic focuses.
Mm-hmm.
So would you say they apply?
They would definitely apply.
Question, is he considered captain for this mission?
I would say he is, yes. All right, well, you have an option here, Morgan. You can either just take that failure, or you could spend determination to re-roll those 2 zeros.
No,
Wait, how many points did he burn?
Looks like he bought 2 die, so that would have been 3 momentum.
Yeah, let's spend some determination on this.
Okay. What would be the value you are calling into play?
It's a bit of a stretch because we're talking about deities instead of injustice, but I wanna see if I could try my Judge Aaron Sati quote
Mm-hmm.
with the first link that changes forward, the first speech censored, the first thought forbidden, the first freedom denied. Changes all irrevocably.
I can see there's an argument for that. You certainly don't want to make your first contact coming off as the Federation as gods, emissaries, or whatever else. So, yeah, I could say that'd be very passionate of you to correct that mistake. So yeah, if you now want to roll those 2 zeros again, you may certainly do so.
Yeah, let's try this out. Oh, okay.
Oh wow!
Disaster.
Now it begins.
Disastrous.
So
It's a disaster!
let me ask this, Morgan: do you have the veteran talent?
I don't.
Okay. Then the only option you have here, besides taking that, is you would have to challenge a value, which means you cross it out and replace it at the end of the session. But you could challenge a value and you would get your determination back.
Wait, can't we buy that failure off with 2 momentum?
With 2 threat or 2 momentum, if I was being a nice GM, but I think a complication here is very profound.
How could this happen to us?
All my ideals are being challenged in just a few seconds. Well, let me see here. I gotta think. Do I throw away everything I ever believed in?
I mean, this is probably a very important moment in Morgan's life. He is not only leading first contact with a species that has never met an outsider. This very may well be the very first contact of any species besides the one the Lysithia crew found in the Andromeda Galaxy.
This is
Can he
the first contact I'm ever gonna do.
Can he challenge the value that he just used?
I'm going to say no. You can't challenge the value you just used. That feels a little bit like cheating.
Yeah, I'll challenge seeking out new life and new civilizations. Because certainly it's a major difficulty right now.
All right, and what would you be replacing it with?
Well, actually, he doesn't do that till later, right? As long as he's challenging it now.
Well, I mostly wanted to get him thinking about it now. That way we don't forget.
Yeah, this mechanic is not something I'm too familiar with, so...
It'd reflect your situation right now.
Yeah, so what I'm curious
and
is...
a possible change in psyche, too.
Right. So what I'm curious is where would you be changing that value to something else? Like, it could be similar, but it has to be different enough, like, to fit the situation.
How are you being impacted right now? What are you thinking?
Well, I see Morgan's probably feeling, honestly, a little bit frustrated. Not necessarily so much with the Muuat, but more so his inability to control the situation.
Possibly
Pull the
because
prime
he's
directive.
trying to flip their entire psyche
True.
at the first meeting, which is probably impossible.
Probably. But he's young and brash. He spent most time at Memory Alpha. He didn't know that, man. But yeah, I mean, in terms of challenging this one specific value, it would probably be something along the lines of seek out new. Well, let me think about it. I don't mean to hold up the entire game. I'm just really trying to think about
Man,
this.
go
No,
for
you're
it,
fine.
man.
You're fine.
Something related to this first contact. I mean, it would be, first contact going wrong right now.
So much easier when Picard does it, man.
Mm-hmm.
My 2 cents?
Yeah, go for it.
Never violate the prime directive. This was an example of a race that had no warp capabilities. Maybe he thinks that they need to have warp to be contacted, or they have situations like this.
Well, to be fair, this would be evaluated now, since technically this ship went way faster than warp speed. We just didn't know what was going on along.
Yeah, we didn't really know what was happening beyond the veil, but it was clear that they traveled faster than light.
It seems like you'd be very cautious next time if you were in a first contact situation.
So, I got it. There are, hold on, I'm trying to word it correctly. So, the value I'd probably change it to is that there are no knowns and known unknowns.
Sure, I'll let it happen. And I would just make that change now before you forget, but you do have your
Absolutely.
determination back, and you could re-roll those 2 zeros. I think
just
rules
crossed
is
that.
written, you're not supposed to be able to do this, but I think it's an interesting character development, so I'm going to let it happen anyway.
Wasn't it supposed to be to re-roll all of the dice, or is it just the ones that
It's
fail?
as many as you want, but would you really want to re-roll ones?
Right. So I'll try rolling these one more time.
All right.
Can I assist now?
I'm going to say not at the moment.
He seems to be stumbling.
Just a bit. So much easier when you read about the diplomatic reports after the fact, man. I'm no Picard, and I'm certainly no,
That's what I thought you might pick for value.
See,
Um,
much
What would Picard do?
what would Picard do?
much better. So you actually get a momentum from that, and
No Riva.
yeah. So the commander does hesitantly put his feet underneath of him, and he rises. He stands to his full height. You notice that he stands about 7'3", so he's a very tall individual. And he doesn't say anything, but he does wait for you to continue whatever you were saying, Morgan.
Introductions are in order.
Oh, man. Well, in any case, it's time for me to, let's introduce my crew. Like I said, you already know, I'm Commander Lucas Morgan. This is Lieutenant Inari, Chief of Security Crawford, and Andromeda, as we call her.
So, in turn, the commander looks to everyone. Emissary Morgan, Emissary Inari, Emissary Crawford, and Goddess Andromeda. Sorry, my manners. I am Commander Tarud. This is Acolyte Suvail. And the Acolyte speaks up and says, "We are your most humble servants, O great ones."
Acolyte of. Could you tell us about your beliefs?
Our beliefs, Emissary.
Well, your term, acolyte. I'd like to know what. Could you tell us about what you follow as a belief?
There's kind of a bit of silence where you would guess he's trying to figure out, why is he being asked this? Shouldn't his emissaries know, kind of a thing. And finally he says, "It is doctrine to always have a religious representative on any Muuat ship."
At this point, I'm probably going to look to Andromeda to see if she has anything else to add at the immediate moment.
Oh, she
Or is she
does,
still
but
stunned?
I basically want to have you guys talk and not me to myself. But if you got nothing, I can certainly talk to myself for a little bit.
Well, I necessarily want to basically inform them if we could TLDR a little bit exactly how we came across this vessel thousands of light years away. The depictions of the slingshot and how we saw the crew of the ship when we arrived on board. And I'm going to ask them if they have any specific interest in this.
They would both have their own way of showing that interest. The Acolyte would bow his head even further into the floor if possible, whereas the Commander sounds at least a bit more thoughtful. And the latter says, "So they did travel successfully beyond the veil. This is an astounding development. And you say that you fly on a ship carrying the goddess."
Well, that's one way of putting it, I suppose. Andromeda is someone that my people, the Federation, found that was in need of assistance. This entire mission is based around attempting to get her home, while additionally exploring this region of space.
Captain Morgan, if I may.
You may.
The nurse, Kira, walks up and Hi, my name is Karu. I'm a healer. Based off the way we found your crew when we first found your ship, with your permission, I would like to make sure that what befell them will not befall you while you're on board the ship, if I may.
And the acolyte kind of looks up and says, a healer? You must have been trained in Dorhini arts. Yes, whatever you feel is necessary, Emissary Keru.
Just hold still for a moment if you don't mind, and I'll run a tricorder scan on them to try to get a base scan.
Sure. Give me a reason medicine at difficulty 2.
I'll burn 1 point, and I gotta focus in wait a minute. Would physiotherapy? I don't think physiotherapy
Nah,
applies either.
not for these guys.
Yeah, and I'm more of a botanist, so that won't apply either. I'll take that
They're-
point off here in a second.
They're decked out in neutronium, right?
You'll find out. All right, so hey, you get a momentum. What you find?
I'll just put it back.
Yeah, what you find, Kiru, is that you already knew some of this, but I'll repeat it for posterity's sake. They are, underneath their armor, sort of molten, almost gaseous creatures that are contained by a neutronium alloy. It's not as strong as the stuff the ship is made out of, but, it definitely can still take a hell of a beating. And you're able to tell that this armor that contains them allows them, or theoretically allows them, to sustain themselves even in the harsh conditions of a Class Y planet. However, based on your readings of their silicon sort of biological processes, you're coming to realize that they almost... What's the word I'm looking for here? You know how Tholians seem to just sort of breathe nutrients around them? Sort of the same thing here. A standard Class M environment sustains the Muuat.
Okay.
What was the other class of planet you mentioned?
They're both Class Ys.
That's the demon planet.
Correct.
Would we describe their essence as demon planet-ish?
I would say no, because if they had grown up on a Class Y planet, there's no reason for them to exist in a Class M.
That was where I was leading.
I'm gonna walk up to them and just look at them and give it like an order of intimidation and just say, "Do either of you have a weapon on you?"
Why would we bring a weapon to meet with the goddess and her emissaries? It would be sacrilege.
Excellent. I'll just walk back. Not helping Morgan at all with this.
I mean, like, I'll throw my hat into the ring, and you could just say my apologies, but you can misunderstand. First contact is difficult, as he says while he grits his teeth. So we just must take precautions.
It is reasonable. This is first contact with the gods since many millennia ago. And it's probably about this time that Andromeda finally steps in, probably to Morgan's supreme relief.
Thank God, please. Jump in.
Thank goddess. Wink, wink, nudge. But she steps in, and she says very calmly and quietly, but enough that everyone can hear her. She says, "My people, the Dorni. What can you tell us about them? Pretend I am new to all of this. Better yet, think of me testing your devotion." And the commander says, "Well, every Muuat knows that the very first among our people was delivered to this garden by the Dorni many, many, many millennia ago. and that the only creatures able to travel beyond the veil were the Dorni. And Andromeda just sort of takes this in and says, all right, very good. And your doctrine. Do you have a central point of faith? Somewhere that I could inspect your place of worship? The commander says, there is, as the acolyte has said, there is a small shrine on every Muuat vessel. But perhaps you would be interested in the main temple on the homeworld. And Andromeda just sort of motions for him to continue, and he says, the main Genvola temple, it is said to contain a treasure of the Dorhini. Are you here to reclaim this treasure? And because, she's in a suit, she can actually talk to all of you without really talking to them. Or at least narratively, that's how this is going to work. And she says, I mean, I'm not going to tell you how to run your first contact, Commander, but I think we might want to just play this angle.
Morgan would absolutely look at her and just say, he agrees. He's already learned, definitely, probably, not to try to change these people overnight. First and last mistake, hopefully, fingers crossed. So let them unfold their culture to us as they see fit.
All right. So, Andromeda then answers, yes, I am indeed here to check on the state of the treasure. How is it that we will return to the homeworld? I notice you use technology that I'm sure my people did not leave you. And at this, the acolyte chips in and says, great goddess, we were able to learn from your teachings, the Dorni teachings, and develop this technology. Is it to your liking? And Andromeda just sort of shrugs and says, as long as it gets you where it needs to go, it suits me just fine. And the commander speaks up at this point and says, what the acolyte is not telling you is that we have been able to expand within the garden thanks to this technology. Every single system that we claim has its own catapult, which connects us back to the homeworld. Andromeda just sort of takes that in and says, very well. Please transmit the coordinates and anything we need to know about using your catapult, and we will follow you through. The acolyte says, it will be done, great goddess. And unless any of you stop them or chip in, they're both going to rise and start headed back into their shuttle.
I'll tap Commander Morgan real quick.
Okay.
Commander, maybe we should find out if we can leave some sort of a beacon just in case the Adiona is near.
Good thinking. They still haven't arrived yet, so it's best that we will give them at least some sort of guiding if they make it through the veil. We probably have something like that on board.
Yeah, I would
Fighter.
imagine you would have brought
So,
some probes
yeah.
along.
We'd probably, if after they leave, we'd probably just throw it out of the shuttle bay.
Okay. Well, I'm not hearing anyone stopping them, so yeah, they get back in their shuttle, fly on back to their ship, and you're back amongst yourselves in the shuttle bay.
Well, Andromeda, that's one solution found to one of your issues. You got a name?
Yes, don't quite know how I feel about that, but the name has unlocked several memories for me. Maybe more impressions than memories, but I just have a feeling that whatever this treasure is, I need to get my hands on whatever it is. It's a gut feeling.
Really? Get our hands on it and not just take a look at it?
Well, I mean, hands-on experience. I mean, depending what it is, I'm not going to take a power source or something important to them, but if it's something like a data trove, then...
Ooh, do you remember what it is? They said there was one on every ship. There may be still one on here.
You raise an excellent point. Perhaps I should have asked them what we should have been looking for.
Well, they have been learning from your teachings, as they would say. I'd be interested to see that.
Well, let's put our heads together. And at this point, so that everybody's involved, let's have you guys scoot on back to the bridge. So yeah, you're back on the bridge. Everyone is filled in on the situation. And yeah, how would you like to proceed?
Well, at this point, I suppose we should just fully discuss. Well, we already said everybody's been informed, so if we're not necessarily following them in through the slingshot just yet, and let's check sensors for the Adiona, make sure this beacon's in working order.
Okay. You also got a little bit quiet, but I heard you just fine. Yeah, the sensors are still not reporting any sign of the Adiona. However, you are indeed able to drop the probe off and confirm that it is transmitting a Starfleet signal.
I'll make sure it doubles on a radionic signal too, just in case, since subspace is all messed up.
Okay.
Won't go as far, but at least it's doing something that works.
And since that we are likely to take another trip through another slingshot, we should probably just leave a message attached telling the Adiona where we're going. And leave the calculations.
Yeah, we could do all that in a repeating message that's
So yeah, it'd be trivial for you to set that up. But as you get all that situated, Connor reports, sure, I have the coordinate and the access code for the catapult.
All right, Connor, can you tell exactly where this is going to be taking us?
Approximately 30 light years from here.
Well, I have no necessarily any other immediate objections.
Helm's ready, sir.
Then take us out.
All right.
So it'll be your intention, Captain, to play along for the moment? Basically get a tour of their temple culture and learn as much as we can initially?
That's correct.
At least get a copy of their text so we have a point of reference.
At this point, we'll treat this more as a fact-finding mission than first contact. And it doesn't necessarily seem that they're apparent to harm any of us, especially Andromeda. By all means, we should still err on the side of caution, but...
On that note, do you think I should start trying to hide the fact I am, robotic mostly? Make sure that they think that we all look very similar to each other?
Well, I don't necessarily want to start hiding visible afflictions from them. Even though that we're going to take this their way, at the same time, I do want to remind them that we are not like them. If it comes up, we'll attempt to deal with it the best way possible.
And I'm pretty sure they got a good look at my spots as well.
We're going to be purely reactionary so far.
I would recommend basically that we approach this as visiting a primitive culture.
Seconded, sir.
Agreed.
And also, let me get this straight. So they figured out how to work neutronium by looking into Andromeda, her people's cultures, right? Morgan?
Yes. From what the Muuat has definitely told us during our meeting, definitely things that were left behind by Andromeda's people were definitely an influence on the development.
Well, it seems their culture's completely evolved around the what's the species name again?
The Dorney.
Completely around the Dorne and their teachings.
I suppose another interesting thing that we need to take note once we travel there is to see if all of this was intentional by your people, Andromeda. That's not necessarily something that we can't discount.
Agreed.
They say that they led Muuat to the quote-unquote garden. So from that statement, I think it was intentional.
Well, that all depends, I suppose, on how these individuals themselves are interpreting their home culture, whether these are tales or texts that have the potential of being either retranslated or verbally communicated. That's not something we have the ability of knowing yet, I suppose, until we get to the home world.
Well, with that being said, sir, I think we should limit access to Andromeda to make sure that as few people from their culture physically see her. If all of a sudden she gets seen by the mass population, there's no telling how far it'll take it.
Hysteria, in a sense, but I don't see it quite to that level in these people. Just extreme devotion.
Well, nonetheless, I think we should err on the side of caution with her visibility.
I agree. Additionally, I'm going to like Andromeda to be as close to Chief Crawford as possible. For safety reasons, of course. For the remainder of the mission, you guys are inseparable.
It's a shame the ship doesn't have a bar.
GM, I make it a point to dump the data. I got the medical data, so that way there's more than one cop.
Okay.
Well, the last thing that I suppose I'll probably as like a commanding thing is just making sure that our hull can withstand another jump through the slingshot.
Oh yeah, hull's fine. Yeah,
Right.
it hasn't changed a bit.
Then in any case, I suppose we should be off.
All right. So
that was my helm roll from earlier.
Yeah, I noticed. You're fine. I'm not going to have you roll for this since you have the access code and the instructions on how to use this mini catapult. So, like sort of an escort, the first Muuat vessel goes through the catapult. Then it comes your turn, and you are launched through null space back 30 light years. Well, not back the way you came, but you know what I mean. Meanwhile, back on the bridge of the Adiona. Let's do a little token cleanup here. And Mayweather would be here as well.
Would I? No, I don't think I have command training.
Yeah,
no.
I mean, if you want to be there, you can be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
All right.
You're first officer, right? Now?
Technically, I believe so.
I'd be on the science station since I'm medical.
Merrick is going to be on science station unless you kick him out of it.
Oh, yeah, Merrick's... Yeah, I guess I'll be acting first officer.
All right. So, on the Adiona, you're traveling through null space. You're having a good time. It's been maybe 10 minutes since you left the catapult. And then you suddenly decelerate. And you find yourselves in a system which I have previously described. It is a semi-barren red giant star with 2 Class Y planets, and there's a smaller Graviton Catapult that is around the second planet.
Start scan.
All right, so Merrick, give me a reason science. Difficulty 3 after accounting for talents. And the ship will assist with sensor science.
I gotta get the character sheet. Just a second.
Zava, commence a class 1 on all systems. Let's make sure we didn't break anything.
On it, sir.
The ship will assist me, correct?
Yep.
And you said reason science.
Reason science for you, sensor science for the Adiona.
I'll do the Adiona if nobody's got.
That's a very good roll. All right, so you get a momentum, which I believe you're still at 3 because of the scene change. So,
Yep. Okay.
all right. So, yeah, Merrick, you're not detecting any vessels in the area, but you are detecting a probe of Federation origin transmitting on a radio frequency, and it contains a message that has been in the buffer for over 3 weeks.
Captain, I'm not detecting the Muuat vessel that traveled ahead of us in the vicinity, but I am picking up a Federation probe. There's a message on there with a date record of 3 weeks. What's the record say?
Well, that is the record. So it contains whatever you would have put in the probe, along with some sort of timekeeping mechanism that it has been transmitting nonstop for 3 weeks.
So Morgan's message saying, "We've arrived. We've made contact.
Mm-hmm.
We're going through a jump gate here."
All of those things.
Okay, so I relay that to Captain Williams.
Lovely, lovely. In 3 weeks. Do we know how long it was since we initiated our jump?
10 minutes, give or take 2 minutes.
Yeah. Very interesting. There does seem to be a time dilation effect here, even though we traveled through the gate only 10 minutes after them. It's been 3 weeks in the arrival.
Verify the ship's chronometer against the star field.
Sure enough, you can confirm that you have been traveling for 3 weeks in real time.
Well, we're back up for the crew. No choice but to continue.
Are we experiencing the same subspace distortions?
You are.
Captain, the area of space is highly distorted by the veil of neutron stars. I don't believe the warp engines are going to work efficiently or effectively.
What about slipstream? Is that down as well?
Well, if we can make our way to the gate, if that is our intention, we can just travel through the next gate, but it's a matter of getting there as well.
Yeah, I'm just verifying what options we have should we need to.
One moment, I'll check, and I'll go to my console and see if, the practicality of using slipstream over warp drive.
All right, roll me a... guess this would be another reason science. This time the ship is going to assist you with computers and science. And I'm going to make this a difficulty 5 task.
I'll use 1 momentum. Well, Okay, start with 1 momentum.
All right, do you want to use determination for 2 auto successes or no?
No, I'm going to rely on the ship and some hot dice.
Okay.
Actually, Captain's going to burn his determination.
Okay.
Using my men or my lifeline to give him 2 automatic success.
Okay.
And then make my roll, see if I get it back since I'm a veteran.
I can re-roll the 0 because I got cautious science.
All right.
I got an effect. I get my determination back.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and re-roll that 0, and I'll tell you what you need to know.
In the ship?
Yeah, someone
What
needs
did the
to
ship?
do computers and what did I say? Science? Yeah, computers engineering.
All right, stand by.
We'll take the 0 because we got 2 automatic from the captain. So
All right,
no
well, you get
no
the momentum.
no complication. That's all.
Yeah, so you get the momentum back. So you're still at 3. Yeah, you think you could with some very careful application of shall we say archaic sensor types. You could probably use QSD within moderate safety. I wouldn't go perhaps more than 50 light years with it, but uh, I would think that your counterparts on the Rama Maven would have told you you're only going 30.
Captain, yes, I believe so. The slipstream would work in limited chumps, limited distance. We would have to double check our calculations, of course, Mr. Merriweather and I.
Yeah, but we got time dilation last time we used their system.
That may have been due
did
to coming through the veil itself. Can we detect any kind of time distortion in the veil itself, GM, now that we're here?
I would say your sensors are not detecting anything that would indicate that the flow of time is being disrupted, except around the neutron stars themselves.
So we're in a stable time now. It's just that we passed through some kind of instability on our way here.
Something like that, yeah.
Pass that on.
All right. Let's make use of the data. Prepare to use the gate.
All right. So.
Oh,
yes.
one thing. I'll turn to Iha because, well, Iha, how are you feeling? I know your physiology is a bit different. Uncomfortable at all when we went?
Well, to say I'm not uneasy by this whole affair is an understatement, but I feel fine otherwise.
Alrighty then. Since you're feeling all right, we'll continue since we have to be back up for the other team.
All right. So,
I'd like to.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to ask a specific question. What kind of details would Morgan have put in about the contact?
That's a good point. What would have Morgan said about what they have found?
Explicitly mentioned that, it is a deity focused society. I would probably mention everything up until the point of not necessarily trying to hide it from the captain, but I would omit that personal failure that happened during first contact, but everything else would have been in there.
Oakley dokley.
All right. So, we're going to do 2 more rolls, and we're going to see what happens here. So I want someone, a representative of the Rama Maven, want one of you to roll me a D1000, and then, Captain, I want you to roll me a D1000 for the Adiona.
I'm ready.
Adiona is rolling.
63. Very nice. 93. Very nice. So, obviously, Adiona, you go through the gate, and what happens is those of you on the Rama Maven, you exit null space into a I would qualify it as almost soul-like in the fact that it has an inner system comprised of several Class Ds and a Class L and a Class M, and that it's got a yellow star, and then it's got some outer planets with a Class J type. But what probably is most important for you is that you arrive, and then seconds later, the Adiona drops out behind you. and immediately the Muuat begin to react. That's where we're going to end the session. So, players, of course, stick around for a little bit longer, but anyone on Twitch or YouTube, thank you for watching, and we'll see these guys in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.